So, hello all. Jonathan Munsell here, my good
Hey, it's
friend.
Jimmy Bornamann. How are you doing?
And we brought in an international celebrity today. We brought in Juan Remolina, who runs Pronto Wash International. And he happened to be in my office. And we said, you know what? He's a good friend with Jimmy and Johnny. Why don't we just have him on the show today?
Let's do it.
So we dragged Juan in. So Juan, say hello.
Hello, Jimmy. Happy to be here.
I'm glad to have you in the States, sir. Welcome home.
Yes. So if you guys remember last year, I went to Colombia and part of my international tour during COVID last year. But I was going there to meet Juan. So I had purchased Pronto Wash USA, and I purchased it officially in June. I'd taken over in March. Well, Juan had previous to that, he had bought the international portion of the entirety of the brand. So we had spent some time, and I'm doing lots of things and making lots of things happen here in the US. And Juan was doing the same thing, internationally, and getting the brand kind of tuned up, really for what I would consider is, the next big phase for the Pronto Wash brand. The brand has been around for many years. It's one of the longest standing car wash companies in existence. The pioneers behind waterless wash. So, before there was a such thing as waterless wash, Pronto Wash was doing it, and, featured on CNN and, all kinds of different media news outlets. And Juan actually was around since the inception. So how long have you been doing Pronto Wash?
I have been with Pronto Wash for 18 years. I bought the master franchise from Argentina. The company is originally from Argentina, and in 2004, I bought the master franchise for Colombia. And 18 years later, I bought
fast forward
the brand worldwide. So
Excellent.
I have been a long time in this business.
Yeah, so he's been doing it a long time. We went and I got to see his operations. I traveled with Scott Weiler, and we were down in Colombia. We went to Bogota, we went to Cali, and back to Bogota. And we saw some really, really interesting things. A big difference for Juan is where we traditionally have one location at, say, a mall. Where Juan is, they recognize the fact that there's different portions of the mall that are bigger and busier. We went to one location that had 3 different locations at one mall. So you come in one entrance, there's one. You come in another entrance, there's one. You move around, there's another one. And why do you do that, Juan? We have one location, but we always think that there's other great parts of, say, a mall or an area of town. What's the importance of having multiple locations to you?
Yeah, 15 years ago, it was the same thing in Colombia. We only have like a huge shopping center, only one Pronto Wash location. And then through time, we learned that we can have different locations inside the same shopping center, like different points of sale, separate stores. And the good thing is that they do not compete with each other. I mean, they have the clientele for all of them, and work as a new store. And actually, we call it a McDonald's ice cream system, or concept. McDonald's ice cream in Latin America, they do have like different locations. In one shopping center, they have maybe 4 or 5 ice cream stores, and the same thing. They are located in the entrance 1, 2, 3, 4, and works very well.
Yeah, and it's interesting. You go to New York City, and literally there's 3 Starbucks on a 4-way intersection, and it's just economics of scale. They know they can support it. People aren't going to necessarily cross the street to get to something. So you literally end up putting multiples. And like Juan said, it doesn't cannibalize the sales of something else. It actually increases the sales for the entirety, because now you have way more brand awareness. And if somebody comes in that entrance this time, but they go in a different entrance next time, it doesn't matter. They can still get to it very quickly. So it was really impressive. How many locations do you have in Colombia today?
In Colombia, we have 120.
So they have 120 locations, spread out in it. It's a country that has how many vehicles?
We have 5 million vehicles, but the population is 50 million. So
yeah, so Juan and I, we do a lot of conversations with folks internationally with expanding the brand. You look at us here in the US, we have 350 million people. We have over 300 million cars. So the fact that he can support 120 locations in a country with only 5 million vehicles says a lot. So it has a lot to do with the expansion, plans for us in the US. So when you look at it, you really got to look at the entirety of your market and what your penetration is. And even when we built Spiffy, very, very large $100 million company, the reality was we had very little market penetration. So when you think about the ability in a city or in a market to be able to increase your sales by getting to more people more often, multiple locations in our world, in a city, we'll have 10 vehicles without even thinking about it, and they're zipping all over the place. I mean, right now in San Francisco, we have San Francisco Airport, we have San Jose Airport, we have, mobile operations, country clubs, and just that transit between those locations and the fact that our vehicles have direct response marketing on them, we get calls all the time, and you don't even know where your customers are going to come from. And that's not even from Facebook ads, Google pay-per-click, recurring marketing to our existing customers. We can talk about that all day long. That's just, people seeing us because of the visibility. So those folks that are out there that have a small business and you might have a location, but what happens if you have 2 locations, 3 locations? And that's the biggest transition that I've seen. Jimmy, you can certainly comment on this in our lives. Jimmy and I both come from the restaurant industry, and having a location, you can really get that thing humming. The biggest thing is when you go to another location, how do you manage all of that? And you have to change your mentality. What are your thoughts on that, Jimmy?
Oh, that's true. From an operations point, you're always scared that when you open up your second or third unit, your overall sales are going to go down, and they do a little bit because some of your other people live closer to that new unit or that other unit. But my economies of scale, when I opened up that third restaurant, from my buying power and my customer base and my loyalty, they kept going to the different ones because I had different staff, different people, different things. And it actually took my sales from a little over $1 million at one to a little over 2.8 at all 3. So it instantly took my total revenue up. And if I could control my costs, my prime costs, it really dramatically gave me more money at the bottom line because I had so much more scale. I had one guy that could run and oversee all 3 kitchens. It was beautiful.
Yeah, and that's the biggest thing. Everything that we do, we build to scale, but we don't start out that way per se. We always have that in the back of our brain. The biggest thing you'll ever hear us talk about is whenever we do something, that first one, right, the baby, the mothership, whatever you want to call it.
But it's subshell after that, yeah.
That one has to have the great systems that you're going to expand upon. I spoke to a gentleman yesterday who's a detailer, been doing it 15 years out in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and he's mobile. And, he just had a great month. And, his biggest thing is, how does he bring on people and then pass on his knowledge to them? And the fear always is, does he have enough work to do that? Right? He doesn't want to bring somebody on and then he doesn't have to work for him.
True.
And we just got into talking about, it's a system. And, I got to tell you, one of the biggest changes in our company in the past, call it 6 months, is really the focus and attention on the training, and then using, success systems as the backbone to build, a true digital training portal. Now, you can't train people, in every business 100% digitally, but the thing that we do is that we communicate, the vast majority of the message is communicated across the country consistently by using video. They still have to go and do the practical hands-on, go and roll up the sleeves and get the OJT on the job training so that they become experts. It's like, how do you get good at doing push-ups? You need more reps. Right?
Right.
So it's like they need reps. We joke, we call it reps in our company, but they need reps. They need to be doing this, more and more. But the fundamentals is, I travel all over the country all the time, but I can go to San Francisco, I can go to San Diego, and I get off a plane, I go to one of our locations. The first question I ask is, have you been through our training? Yes, I have. Well, great, because that means they know so much more. I don't need to get into the minutia of a conversation. I could talk to them about, themselves and the company and how well they're growing and what they want from us. Do they have barriers, inside of the company that we can help them eliminate? Because if they got the training, they've been through it, they're certified, which is super important, right? You can't just have the training, you got to have a test, at the end to make sure that they comprehended the knowledge. So if they're doing that and we're able to actually test them and validate that, then we know that those folks are good to go. And it's like that, you ever see like two people, it's like me and he gets it. That guy gets it, right? Well, our ability to scale now becomes far easier. And the next biggest thing that we're working on is the management training, right? We have great people and great systems. How do we get that communicated clearly and quickly? One of the things I find with the training and the training portals, it eliminates, this whole longevity. You hear about people being in training for weeks and weeks, right? Our training program is 100 hours. And it's 100 hours and you are good to go. Fly solo, get in a vehicle, everything, from the Smith driving program to, how to greet people, all those things that we talk about. But they know every little detail in 100 hours of training. So if somebody's in their 200th hour and they're still a trainee, we have a problem. You see the application for that worldwide to really level out the brand and to make it more consistent.
Oh, yeah. That's amazing. I'm one of the things that has impressed me from what you guys have been doing here in the US is actually the power of those videos. It's not the same in Latin America or in Colombia. We do not use videos. We do it supposed to train people at the work, but you cannot tell, and sometimes they're not well trained, and it's difficult to standardize, So it's definitely an amazing and powerful system, the videos.
Yeah.
And for international, even more, like the potential master franchisees that we have in different countries will definitely want things like this, like you can train with technology and everything, using technology. Definitely.
I think everybody wants to be like that good old school McDonald's where everything's the same. Whether I go through the drive-through and my French fries are the same color, my hamburger is just as cold at that restaurant it is as the next restaurant I go to.
Exactly. Yeah.
It always seems to be cold at McDonald's. Don't know why. But anyways, it's always the same wherever I go, which is what guys around the world are going to want. They want that luxury of saying it's the same. I mean, that's what we strive for. I think in the franchise world, everybody else fights with it.
Yeah, and it's funny, because in my experience, in life, I've had a lot of franchise exposure, and I got to be honest, I've never seen anybody do it at the level that we're doing it today. It has huge implications, and again, the technology wasn't there, so it's not like anybody did anything wrong. But the power of your cell phone these days, where you can just pick that thing up and shoot a video. We use it all the time. We don't just do it from like shooting video production, as we're doing it. If we're training something on the computer, we use a tool called Loom. Loom records my screen, it records my voice explaining it. And next thing you know, even my assistant, we come up with something new, a new form, a new financial summary, a new document. I can just fire up Loom. I can record that thing in a minute or two. But one of the things that we constantly do that I do want to recommend to everybody is we document things all day, every day. So if you're doing something more than once, if you're doing it 2 and 3 times, you need to figure out how to automate it. But if you ever expect to be able to pass that along to somebody else and to be able to do it quickly, right? Because the whole part about scale and about growth and about what we're doing, currently in the US and what Juan and I are going to be doing internationally, it's not just about being able to grow it. It's how quickly can we grow it and how quickly can we grow it consistently, so that we don't degrade the brand as we do this expansion. The worst is to expand and then it's a mess. But with the technology that exists today that never existed before, right now, when we utilize the tools and success systems, we load things into, a portal. So it has video, it has downloadable documentation, but anything that we put on the screen, the beauty is, if you're using a browser like Chrome, they can literally, with the click of a button, they can translate that, and the translation isn't like mirror perfect, right?
Yep.
These guys, they say things backwards. I took Spanish for years and years. They put words in different orders, and it reminds me. We were on the phone recently talking to we've been talking to guys in England. We've been talking to guys in Saudi Arabia. We already have a big stronghold in the Middle East for Pronto Wash. But I was telling one of the guys that as we were talking about this, and we were talking to guys from Brazil recently, I was telling them a story about the Middle East, and one of the things is that they actually read backwards. Okay. So, we read left to right, they read right to left. Well, years and years ago, Gatorade put out what they thought was a brilliant ad campaign. And it was basically the equivalent of somebody running a marathon, right? So they're all wore out, right? And then they drink a Gatorade and they're all recharged and they feel like $1 million. Well, when you put that on a billboard in the Middle East, it basically says, if you drink Gatorade, you're going to die. and that's what it reads. You go drink a Gatorade, and then the next thing you know, you're wore out. So that's, I think, one of the challenges that we face as we go forward. One of the biggest things is, as we're moving international here to the US for its base of operations. Juan's based out of Miami now. And we constantly talk, one of the reasons we're together right now is to spend the next 24, 48 hours just talking about, what are the next steps? So, what keeps you awake at night is a question I always ask business owners. And, it's the challenges that we face. So what are some of the challenges, you see as we start to do more and more, it's already a large brand across the world, right? 300 locations across the world. That's pretty impressive. So what do you see as we continue to expand and we go into new markets? What do you see as some of the challenges?
I think some of the challenges, and as you mentioned, the magic word will be consistency, And as Jimmy was saying, if you want to have a Big Mac in Miami and a Big Mac in Japan, it should be the same flavor and the same thing, right?
Yep. Probably cold.
I think it's easier.
You gotta make sure it's cold enough, right?
It might be easier to cook a hamburger than to wash a car, but
right.
But that's a challenge. And the good thing about Pronto Wash is that we already have an operation in like third world countries like Colombia and Latin America that works very well, and the same in the US and the same in the Middle East, where the income is very high, like a lot of money, and the labor is very cheap. So that's like the best of the world.
Yeah, yes.
And if we have been able to prove the system in 3 continents, like why is it not going to work anywhere, right?
Yeah.
But consistency is one of the challenges, and make sure that our potential master franchisees feel they feel that they have our help to make it happen in their different countries.
Yeah. So, we talk about the training and the training portal. I think it's as important now. Right now I have over 40 franchisees across the country. And one of the things, as again, we look at our own technology and we figure out ways to utilize it. So one of the things recently that I've done internally is, we have a whole owners portal, and, they're able to, we use centralized accounting, we use centralized customer care. We've done some things to bring things together to make it easier, but, for them to understand their business, we've created their own portals where they can see everything and they can learn just like anybody else. So I think that, when we look at the challenges ahead of us, some of the biggest challenges to me are marketing, right? I'm constantly fall back on marketing because I believe we have great operations. I believe those operations transcend to any market. What we do, we don't, it's not the gold plated version. We have a very high level of service that we deliver. We have fantastic products. We manufacture our own products, so we keep control of all of that. The biggest thing I see is marketing. And from when you look at, you're a single unit operator, and then you go to multi-unit, and then you go to franchise, those are all very different stages of the life cycle of business. And the franchise portion of it, it's different, right? And it's different marketing. And not only do you have to market to get new franchisees in, but in each market that you're in, you have to pay attention to local customs and things like that. So I see that as we grow. We do software as a service, we do marketing as a service today, but it's understanding the complexities of a different market. It's even just pricing structures in different markets, because like Juan said, what we do here, our check average compared to maybe his check average is different, but at the end of the day, he's got a better labor model than we do. So we can do things a little bit, more economically to get more people in. So those are all the challenges I see as we continue to expand. And as you grow any brand that you have to consider, you got to consider, right? You got to consider the single unit, you got to consider the multi-unit. And, now we look at countries and the world. Those are the things that I'm enjoying getting my mind around, because it is different. And Juan, one of the things, about Juan that I love is with his vast operations experience, he comes from a different culture. So he looks at things differently, and he's pointed out things to us that, and we can make better in our own company. But at the same time, we pointed out things to him that he didn't see as big opportunities for him. So I think whenever, and it's another thing I love about you, Juan is fearless, right? You guys think I talk to anybody and I don't have a problem having a conversation. Juan will talk to anybody and everybody. And he's just got this magnetic personality where he can get them to talk about their business, open up, and you feel this real sense of sharing. And, and this is like from his biggest competitor. He's known to go talk to his biggest competitor, because at the end of the day, like we said, if you can have 3 at one location, just because you got a guy across town, it doesn't really mean he's your competitor. So if you guys can figure out things together that help both of your businesses, then God, why wouldn't you? And Juan is the master of that. And since the day I met him, he's been super sharing, super open, about everything that he does. And I couldn't think of having a better partner to expand internationally with. I do appreciate that. You are the man.
Thank you. And
I would agree. I would agree. You get a sense of comfort and inclusion every time you talk to them.
Yeah, and actually in Colombia, I merged with a competitor after 18 years of operation in Colombia, and it was very successful. Like they learned a lot from us. We learned a lot from them, and now we have a lot of experience, in the B2B business, for instance, that it wasn't, like our main
like
business.
your fleet and stuff like that. Yeah.
With fleets and dealerships, like new cars, used cars, the maintenance, all those things. We learned a lot, and so it's sometimes, of course, you're not going to get, like you say, your secret sauce to anyone, but you can share many things that will benefit all of us. Like it doesn't matter if it's a competitor.
Yeah, that's a big one. If you know anything about me, I spent many years in the restaurant business, And, I've now spent many years in the car care business. One of the things that you'll find with me that I always do is I get involved with the association that's, at the backbone supporting the industry. I was on the board of the National Restaurant Association. I was, a high-level board member here in North Carolina, while I was the president of the International Detailing Association. And people always ask me, like, oh my God, why, right? Like, why would you do that? Because there's value in sharing ideas. And if you look at the industry that you're in, no matter what industry you're in, if you look at the industry and if you can make that industry become better, there's a natural fallout effect that happens to you and your business. So I encourage everybody, whatever business you're in, to really get involved and to go and meet the people that are making a difference, the people that have the experience. And you may not think that you're going to go and talk to somebody like Juan, who's, owns an international brand and, has, 120 plus stores. But I think you'll find out that there's some of the nicest guys in the world. They're super approachable. They'll help you and give you, what do we always say, Jimmy, a $50 a day idea, right? Yep. If we can teach you one thing that gives you a $50 a day idea, that's $18,000 a month. So if you can get one nugget, and guys like him or I, we give them away because we don't want to see people struggle. I did that. I learned the hard way. I don't want anybody else to have to do it that way, because there's plenty of business and plenty of opportunity for all of us. That's what I love about the International Detailing Association. If you meet another detailer that's part of that association, there's an immediate, symbiosis that happens, and there's a sharing, and, what are you using and how are you doing this? And next thing you know, you're better because of the group. So I really do encourage everybody to work on things like that in their business, as much as they work on making labor better, finding a better product that's maybe a little bit less expensive. You got to expand your higher level thinking if you ever want to grow your business. And most people I see, are solopreneurs that are stuck, and they can't figure out how to bridge that next gap. And maybe it is working with a competitor. The two of you guys come together, work on something really big, and next thing you know, you have that next bright idea.
Absolutely. And I believe strongly in mentorship and mastermind groups. It's that same mentality of like-minded people being in the same battle, whether it be different industry, but it's the same battle. I have sales, I have costs, I have labor, I have the same battles. And then in a mastermind group, I can sharpen myself and my skill and them at the same time. And even once a quarter or once a year, when you get together, it's powerful. It really is. And having a one-on-one mentor as a business owner, that's even bigger and better. Like you said, you guys give away, and I've seen you both pour into a younger person coming up as a mentor, pouring into them and watching them thrive and grow and get to that next level. Sometimes they leave, sometimes they stay, but you both poured into those people for free, for nothing. It's a gift that I think we all have, but we love to help others, and it's amazing.
Yeah, I'm telling you, Jimmy, I personally love helping people. And if I can help them skip a rough patch that maybe I went through in my life, holy cow, I do it all day, every day.
Don't take that road. That's a bad detour.
Yeah, do not do that, right? The stop doing list is just as important as the to-do list.
Absolutely.
So Juan brought me a book today. So we can talk about the book a little bit too. So tell us a little bit about it. It's a book called Traction. And we had talked about it. We had a meeting, and it's actually on my list of my next reads. So it was nice to see him whip it out of his bag today. So tell us a little bit about the book.
So Traction by Gino Wickman is one of my favorite books, and it's basically a methodology to follow, easy to get a grip on your business. And as I have been talking to Jonathan and Jimmy, and I know that you have all those systems, I think is similar to what Gino Wickman is trying to teach. It's very similar to what you guys are doing with the daily, weekly, monthly.
Hey, we got him trained,
objectives.
Juan. We got him trained, Jimmy.
And basically what it's saying is that you have to be like very clear on what's your goals are, in the what they call rocks for the next 3 months.
Yep.
And
Like your hurdle, like what you got to, well,
Yeah.
we talk about pushing rocks uphill. right, Jimmy?
so
We do all the damn time.
need to have like at least like 2 to 3 rocks for the next 3 weeks, 3 months, and all the team is going to follow up of what you're doing, and you're gonna feel bad if you do not do the work. It's going to. That's why it's called traction. Is you have to work with the whole team, and I really recommend it. And it helped me a lot in my business in Colombia.
Great. Well, that's gonna be my next book report, Jimmy. I'm gonna turn in a book report to you guys on traction.
Nice.
So every month I chew up a book. So I'm looking forward to it. And I love it literally says traction, get a grip on your business. And I love it because, again, there's times that things are great and things are going well, but you can always make it better. I live in a world of constant never-ending improvement, and I'm sure it sucks to work for me.
Would never say that out loud.
No. I got people in the back of my office here saying, because what's the old say, the good enough, right? The enemy of the great is the good enough.
Right.
And, we just always want to make it better. But it's got to be better for the sake of everybody involved. And sometimes it's hard to get that traction and the buy-in when you see something. I see it because, I travel and I've seen it working, but it's hard to bring that home sometimes. So I'll be really interested to see what Gino Wickman has to say about, how you get these ideas into the team. Because I no matter how good your business is, there's times that it feels like it's a snowball rolling down the hill. Or you feel like Indiana Jones and you got that big boulder rolling behind you, you're running and it's like, coming at you.
Yeah. That's so true. And instead of pushing the rock up, you're running away from the rock coming down. Yep.
Yeah. So, some days you're the bear, you're right. Some days you're,
Yep.
Yeah. So I'm telling you, really, really interesting stuff. So another really interesting thing, and I one of the topics that we threw out before we dragged Juan in today was, talking about some marketing fundamentals. And it's so interesting because when Juan and I kind of did our first show and tell, we ran each other through kind of a slide deck of what we were working on in each of the different countries or internationally. And one of the things that, he had that was a big piece of his presentation was doing a monthly promotion. And, it gave me a warm fuzzy inside because it's one of my core principles that, you have to constantly be coming up with something to promote and talk about and get behind. Right now we have a big push towards suicide prevention and things like that. So, but Juan, he had his, we have the marketing planner, right? We've been doing it for years. We get 3 months ahead of our marketing. Well, Juan had the equivalent of that for, his company in Latin America. And I thought it was fantastic to see, when you meet like-minded people and you have this, with somebody, it really does, it eliminates the cursory conversations and it gets you to a much deeper, higher level, much quicker. So, like I recommend to everybody, it's get ahead of your marketing, have programs that you run and maybe you run them again every year. But the goal with that is, maybe the first year you got it to the 50% line and it was successful. Next year, you take everything that you got to the 50% line and now you add a couple things to it and you make it better. Goes back to what Jimmy was saying about the mastermind group, the business marketing planner, call that we do every month and the conversation that we have. The best parts of that are when we have large groups, we hold them publicly because, I may have done a promotion and I know it works, but all of a sudden somebody throws in, but, oh, if you do that, but you add this, Like that type of like peer group things really, really work. So like Jimmy said, mastermind groups, coaching, right? Tom Brady, right? The GOAT, right? He has a quarterback coach, right? He's got somebody that's watching him and looking for those inconsistencies in his posture, in his stance, in his attitude, so that when he shows up on game day, that he's the best he can be. And he can consistently do that because he has people that he has confidence in.
It's 6 o'clock.
That he works with, that he networks with, that give him good advice and bring him to the next level. So whether it's a mentor, it's peer coaching, it's a mastermind group, or it's hiring a professional like myself or Jimmy to help you, that value and what we can give you by just finding the little tweaks that you might be missing because you're so close to it, right?
Yep.
There's times I'm so close to my business, but they'll say you don't see the trees from the forest.
Yep.
I'm full of these, Jimmy. I got a million of these Southern boy one-liners.
I like to say I'm too close to the wall to see the mural. Everything's blue when I
right.
step backwards.
And we see it all the time in our own business. We're so close to it. But when you step back and you look at all the great stuff, another great fundamental I teach is celebrate your successes. You have to celebrate your successes. Otherwise, nobody else will, right? Jimmy sent me a text last night or the night before, and it just said, thank you. And I'm like, for what? And my response was, thank you, because Jimmy gives me so much. But he was just, his answer to me about what for was, hey, I know you work hard, and I don't know how many people actually say thank you. I just wanted to say thank you. And it was nice. So, remember that and surround yourself with really, really good people. That's half the battle, right? Is the people that you choose to go into battle with. If you're going to fix bayonets, make sure that that person that you're charging into battle with is proven and is going to be there when it gets bloody, that they're not going to evaporate on you. And I think that's
They're not going to go, oh, he's over there.
Yeah, you're running this way and they're all running that way.
Jonathan left. He went that way.
I think about, guys, and we've done interviews with, but like the Michael Kerrs of the world that I've gone into battle with time and time again. Jimmy and I have been doing it forever, right? So we'll use the line that Jimmy likes. Juan's been doing this for 18 years. People think he's an overnight success. It's just been 18 years of overnights.
Right. Overnight. He goes, yep, it's true. It's, we can't turn it off. You can't. You're driving down the road. You're up at night. You're up early. You're taking naps during the day because you have to, because you're up all night working. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. When I walk into my morning every day, and I wish this for everybody, that I walk in and go, man, I am just too blessed. I'm fulfilled every day I walk in, instead of dreading going to the office. I'll open up the door and go, man, I got a lot of shit to do today.
We don't talk to like old friends, Jimmy, that like are bored. They're like, oh, I'm bored with my job. I'm like, oh my God, I gotta be bored with my job. Every day is another, adventure.
Right? You just wake up and go, which way do I go? Which way do I go?
Well, we're at the top of the hour. We kind of hijacked our Jimmy and Jonny show. But
we did, but it's worth an old friend and a new friend in the same room. How cool is that?
Yeah, you can't beat it. So
Thanks for the invitation, and
our pleasure.
I'm one of the fans of this show.
He's a fan of the second one.
We'll syndicate it into Colombia.
Yeah. How do you translate Jimmy in
Jaime.
Jaime and Juan? There you go.
Oh, it's too funny. Gentlemen, it's been a pleasure.
Always. Thank everybody for tuning in. If you need something from us, you have a question about anything we talked about, you want to get involved with some, coaching groups, things like that, just reach out to us. If you need anything under the sun, we're here to help. We really do share this information because we want to see you have that one, less step that's hard in your life. And we want to make sure that, we give you everything that we got, and we do that all day long.
Yep. And I've created a new site, Jonathan. It's Success Systems Hub/JJ Show. And they can catch up on the episodes. They can connect with us. They can tell us what they're interested in or what they're fighting against. They can get our free resources that Kim just put together on our bunch of ebooks and articles that they can get their hands on. But It's at /JJ show. It's pretty cool.
So successsystemhub.com/JJ show.
Yep.
Awesome.
Yep.
Easy to remember, Jimmy.
Yeah, I tried really hard on that.
You got to put some dashes in there and stuff. So if they're on their phone, it gets rid of the app, right? Oh my God, the assholes made this thing. Yeah. Thank you guys. Tune in next week.
All right. Have a good week, guys.